Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's me coming at you again with another video. You know what? I have to do this video, guys. I really held back long enough. You know, I've been on the YTBC for a very short time. I think this is my second and third month on the YTBC, and my channel's growing, and I'm getting substantial amount of views, commenters, subscribers. It's growing. Very small still, but growing. I really appreciate the support, and I really appreciate the people that I was able to interact with, such as Mr. Boston Today, the Boston Librarian, Rascal 222, Terrence. Yes, even Sean Newton. I know some people get annoyed by him, but yes, he can be a good guy sometimes. But and Precise Presenter and Ian King. Shout out to you guys as well, and also one of my newest subscribers, the Realist. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to you, man. And Holyfield fan. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there. Holyfield fan. I can't forget you, but what's bothering me is the uh, the extreme activity that's going on into the YTBC. And I started off as a commenter a little while back, and during the same time when I wasn't really commenting on the videos, I was rather observing and studying the pattern of the YTBC. And I noticed there's a lot of extreme, again, there's a lot of extreme activity where there's a lot of hateful comments thrown at one another. There's the term Pactard and Flomo's been thrown around at one another, you know. But I think that's a disgusting term, and from both Flomo and Pactard, I think it's very disrespectful and disgusting. But sometimes some people deserve that title because they're the ones who initiate the insults by calling people like myself retards because we disagree with them. So, yeah, it doesn't really justify it, but sometimes it does kind of incites that from a hardcore boxing fan like myself. All right. Now, another reason why I want to do this video is to bring up one guy in discussion, and I don't know why his name keeps coming up, and he's the fact that he's been retired now for like almost the last 3 months, and you know what I'm talking about. You see his face right here on the screen before your eyes. It's Floyd Mayweather Jr. Okay, now Floyd Mayweather Jr. is probably the best fighter in his era. Okay, I probably wouldn't really argue that, but you can also say that maybe Bernard Hopkins could be in that category as well. And yeah, some people may disagree with that, but the reason why I rate Bernard Hopkins in there is because Bernard Hopkins is a guy who's still fighting at a pretty good level, okay? Yes, he's not the same Bernard Hopkins of the old, no question about that, but he still can compete at a very top level, all right? Because he hasn't taken any damage in his career. He's still got great reflexes for his age, but, at the same time, his power and his punch technique has diminished over time. So, but with that said, Bernard Hopkins is also the guy who became the oldest man to win the title back only 5 years ago. He beat John Pascal. He's the oldest man to win the light heavyweight title. But a couple years before that, he became the first guy to jump up from 160 to 165 to win a world title. A feat that Sugar Ray Robinson tried to do, but but wasn't able to do that. So Bernard Hopkins became the first and only guy to do that. He also became the only guy to unify all four major titles, which is the WBA, IBF, WBC, and WBO, before losing them to Jermaine Taylor. He became the only guy in a male boxer in history to do that. Okay, I know Cecilia Rockets is the female fighter who was able to do that. He also became the oldest unified champion in history when he defeated Tavoris Cloud for the IBF title, and then he defeated Bibu Shumanov for the WBA title at the age of 48. Okay, this happened almost 2 years ago. So why isn't Hopkins considered to be the best fighter of his era? I don't know. But again, could it be the fact that he doesn't have the star power like Floyd Mayweather does? Maybe. But I'm not going to rank a fighter just because of their star power. I'm ranking a fighter by their ability and their willingness to take on risks and the quality of opposition that they have fought. Okay, not saying that Floyd didn't fight good quality opposition. He did, but he was very selective on who he wanted to fight. All right, that's on record. He said this many times that I'm very careful and I'm very smart when it comes to choosing my opponents. He said this many times. In other words, that I refuse to take on dangerous opposition. I'm going to take the highest reward and low risk fights as possible. If you don't believe me, ask Adrian Broner. Okay? So, whenever a fan like myself, a hardcore fan, or a rational fan like myself ever bring this up in a discussion, these goddamn extremists get all upset, they get very agitated, and they start throwing out insults at guys like me, calling us haters, or I can't believe you actually have a boxing channel by making a dumbass comment like that, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, whoa, hold your fucking horses here, okay? It's something called research, which you guys are not able to do. If you don't believe me, go research it, and then come back to me and let me know if I'm wrong when I state things like that, okay? And let me tell you something about me, guys. When I state something, I'm not going to say something out of the blue, out of random, all right? I'm going to research it before I comment on anything, just to back it up, okay? This is what these idiots do, man. They get upset. They want to go ahead and criticize other fighters like Muhammad Ali, Sam Langford, Barbados Joe Wilcott, Rocky Marciano. They want to criticize all those fighters from the past, and yes, even Sugar Ray Leonard and Robinson. Criticize them, but yet they do not want people to criticize Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather, okay? It's unfucking believable. When I tell you guys this, I'm going to tell you extremists this. Why don't y'all shut the fuck up? If you don't want to criticize us to criticize Floyd Mayweather, then you have no goddamn right to criticize other fighters. Point blank. If you're going to criticize other fighters, but we certainly have a goddamn right to criticize Floyd Mayweather. But we do it in a constructive way. All right? And let me break down Floyd's career. All right? Floyd put himself in a position where he's able to choose his opponents, choose his fighting venues, his own fighting location, choose his own drug testing agency of his choice, his own judges and referee. Okay? That's well documented. That's not hating. That's documented. It's evident. All right? Don't be in denial when I bring this up. It's all fact. Okay? So, looking back at his career, he did beat some good opponents like Ricky Hatton, Diego Corrales, which I say is his greatest win of his career. And the reason why I say that is because, yes, it was not a star power win in a way, but it was a good high profile win because Floyd was an underdog in the fight against a much bigger man. All right, he knocked the guy out. He stopped him in 10 rounds, whatnot, beat him very badly. So that is his greatest win of his career. And some people say, well, that's bullshit. Why about Oscar De La Hoya? I'm like, well, Oscar De La Hoya was not his best, okay, when he fought Floyd. It was a competitive fight, yes, but you can't say that fight was one of the greatest fights of all time. It wasn't. It wasn't one of the greatest fights of all time. It started off pretty slow and dull, and then it started to pick up later in the evening. But with that said, yes, I give him credit for Ricky Hatton, Diego Corrales, Philip Indu, who was a power, knockout artist at the time before Floyd fought him, who was undefeated. Floyd got him out of there. Manny Pacquiao, I would say okay, yeah. I mean, both those guys stalled the negotiation over 6 years. But at the same time, it was Floyd who actually stalled the negotiations even further because I guess he wanted to fight Pacquiao at a certain time, which he did. But can I give him credit for that? Maybe, but I don't know. But other than that, as far as the other fighters, no. Now, can I rank him in the ranks of guys like Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson, George Foreman, Sam Langford, Harry Greb, Roberto Duran, Thomas Hearns, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. I mean, I could go on and on. Evander Holyfield, hell no. Hell no. And let me tell you why. These guys that I'd mentioned took on risks, okay? They fought all comers. They fought everybody that was there to fight, okay? I'm not saying that there was no ducking going on during their time. No, I'm not saying that. There has been ducking. But those guys were in no position to duck fighters like Floyd Mayweather was able to do, okay? And I don't think those guys ever wanted to duck fighters because they wanted to test themselves and they challenged themselves to be great. Floyd Mayweather is undoubtedly probably one of the most unsecure fighters of all time, right next to Vladimir Klitschko, all right? And there's a reason why him and Klitschko will never be considered great fighters because they were so insecure. They had to find every way they can to get advantages to go into fights, like, selecting their own opponents, choosing their opponent's gloves, fighting venue, ring size, padding in the ring, drug testing agencies, dictating their opponents' purses, whatnot. I mean, what kind of shit is that? And, selecting the referee and judges. I mean, what kind of champion behaves like that? Okay? I mean, Jesus Christ. Are you that insecure to be doing shit like that if you want to be considered the best ever or a great fighter? Please. And let me also add that Floyd Mayweather had the privilege of getting xylocaine injected in his hand, not like the other fighters had, okay? Now, you guys want to trash people like Sam Langford and Harry Greb and Barbados Wolcott. Let me get on Barbados Wolcott for a second, okay? There was an idiot that put out a video about, I'm not going to name who he is, because this guy attacked me 3 times in 3 video uploads. And, after a simple disagreement about Antonio Margarito and Julian Jackson, which he had no idea who he was. He just looked him up on the record. Didn't even look at his fights. Didn't even look at, the circumstances that Julian Jackson had to go through to get some certain fights. He just looked at his record and said, well, I can't rank Floyd below Julian Jackson. Man, shut the fuck up, okay? He put out a video about Barbados Wolcott, why I can't rank Barbados Wolcott over Floyd Mayweather, or I think the title was Why I Rate Mayweather Over Barbados Wolcott. Okay, this guy was he had a live feed coming in from his PC, recording it, and he was going through BoxRec. I think he was also going through Wikipedia, doing research, and saying, well, this guy had this amount of losses or such and such, while Floyd fought guys who were ranked at this position and that position. Didn't even take into account that Barbados Wolcott had to fight in probably one of the worst conditions that a color fighter had to go through. All right? He didn't really take into account that Barbados Wolcott fought in a time where there weren't any alphabet belts or multiple divisions where guys had opportunities to win world titles. Okay? At that time, there was only one champion in one division. Okay? Now, Barbados Wolcott had to fight in conditions where he couldn't choose his own gloves. He couldn't choose his own opponents. He couldn't choose his own fighting venue, ring size, whatnot. He couldn't do all that. He couldn't even dictate his own purses. In fact, there was times that he had to enter contracts where, in order for him to win a fight or even get paid for a fight, he had to knock the other guy out. Even if he beat the guy to the bloody pulp, all right, he had to knock the other guy out to even win. All right, now that is a crazy stipulation, and let me tell you how crazy that is because the mob at the time was controlling boxing, not regulators of today. All right, and the ranking system today is bullshit, and let me tell you why. Because Andrew Senior brought this up. Boxing librarian brought up a good point. We have a guy like Zars Glaskov, who's ranked number 1 by the IBF. Ranked number 1. We all know Zars Glaskov is a very limited heavyweight, all right? This guy's gotten gift decisions after gift decisions after gift decisions. If you don't believe me, take a look at the Malik Scott, Derek Cozy, and the Steve Cunningham fights, and you tell me that I'm wrong, all right? Most recently, this guy pulled out a high-profile fight with Deontay Wilder and decided to go after the IBF title because it'll be a more safer way to a championship, thanks to his promoter, Kathy Duva, all right? This guy is such a limited heavyweight that you can't even consider him being ranked as a top 10 heavyweight in the world, okay? There's guys like Bryant Jennings and Luis Ortiz who's only ranked in the WBA, but they're not ranked in any other sanctioning body. It's bullshit, okay? And we all know those 2 fighters are much better caliber than Zars Glaskov. Much better fighters than this guy, all right? But back to the point here. What I'm saying is that this guy did a video pulling out ranking systems, saying that Floyd beat this guy because this guy was a top guy, which is bullshit, okay? Again, Barbados Wolcott defeated more Hall of Famers, much more better defeated fighters who are much more superior than the guys that Floyd Mayweather's ever fought, okay? That is a fact, okay? Didn't even take into account that he fought Sam Langford, Joe Gans, excuse me, guys. Somebody trying to blow me up here. All right, where was I? Oh yeah, Barbados Wolcott fought guys like Mysterious Billy Smith, who was probably the most dirtiest fighter of all time. Joe Kronsky, Hall of Famer. Billy Smith is a Hall of Famer too. Kid Levine, even though he lost him twice, Hall of Famer. Young Peter Jackson, Hall of Famer. Ruby Ferns, Hall of Famer. Philadelphia Jack O'Brien, Hall of Famer. George Gardner, Hall of Famer, probably the best middleweight or middleweights of all time. One of the best of all time. I'm not saying he's the best, but one of the best. Dixie Kid lost to Dixie Kid, who's also Hall of Famer. And let me tell you how controversial that loss was. Okay, Dixie Kid was getting the dog shit beat out of him by Barbados Wilcott. Okay, he was beating his ass for 20 rounds, but for some unknown reason, the referee disqualified Barbados Wilcott. No reason whatsoever. Why? Without there was no reason whatsoever. But yet, due to, I think, public pressure, the title was restated back to Barbados Wilcott because of that situation. So with that being said, Barbados Wilcott, also, this guy didn't even take into account that Barbados Wilcott was being ducked by many fighters before he actually got a world title shot. And you also have to take into account that black fighters at that time, like Barbados Wilcott and Jack Johnson, couldn't even get a world title shot because many fighters didn't want to fight them. Instead, they had their own titles called the color championships and whatnot. All right, didn't even take account for those. Didn't even take into account those environments. But yet, you want to rank Floyd over them because he had all the advantages going into fights. That's bullshit. We also debated about the Margarito situation, which I'm not going to get into. But if you idiots, I'm talking about the Floyd Extremists. If you guys will bother to do the research on how Floyd ducked the fight, then you will understand what I'm talking about, okay? If you disagree with me, cool. Excuse me. All you have to do is do the research. I'll forward you the evidence. Then come back to tell me if I'm wrong about the Margarito duck, okay? He blatantly ducked Margarito. Blatantly ducked him. And lied about why he ducked him, decided to pursue a fight with Carlos Baldomir, all right? Who was undoubtedly one of the worst linear champions we've ever seen, who won it by a fluke against Zab Judah, all right? A guy who had no technique whatsoever, no punch coordination, very sloppy. The only thing he was able to do was absorb punches because of his big head. All right? Now, if you want to rank Floyd Mayweather above Joe Wilcott, now explain to me who on Floyd Mayweather's resume had the skill set of a Sam Langford. Name one. Name somebody on Floyd's resume who had the skill set of Joe Gans. Name one. Kid Levine. Joe Konski. Young Peter Jackson. Philadelphia Jack O'Brien. Now, that's a question to you guys that I want you to answer. If you can't get back to me on it, post it on my comment section below. All right? That's an honest question. If you can't answer it, then so be it. All right? Now, again, the whole point of this video is just to point out the double standard that you got these idiots. I'm sorry to call them idiots, but they are, because they're not the smartest bunch. That they want to go out and trash other fighters from today in the past, but yet they don't want us to criticize Floyd Mayweather. Again, don't trash those fighters if we can't criticize Floyd Mayweather. You can't have it both ways, okay? If you want to welcome an honest discussion about Floyd Mayweather, so be it. I welcome that. All right? I'm just saying, be fair here and be impartial. And shout out to the guys who actually are being impartial and they Floyd Mayweather fans, all right? Okay, I'll give a shout out to Psycho Boxing 305. I respect him a lot. Okay, he's respectful. All right? I mean, you guys can learn from him. All right? So, I mean, that's all I got to say, man. This video is done. But let me know what you think. I'm out.